So hey everybody, Will Martin from StartupWeekend Cork, and with me today is Hans van Gent. Hans is the European Director of StartupBus. I participated in StartupBus back in October, and we drove from Estonia to Vienna and did effectively a startup weekend on a bus. So Hans, do you want to introduce yourself a bit more?
Yeah, so I'm Hans van Gent. I actually have a full-time job in advertising, hence the nice unicorn behind me here. But next to that, I participate in a lot of events where I try to help early-stage startups get anything off the ground. And one of these things is the startup bus in Europe. Startup bus is basically a bit of a similar concept than Startup Weekend. The only two main differentiators are that people are stuck on the bus. So and they are there for a long time, and they can't just easily walk out and grab some fresh air or do easy customer validation by getting out and starting to talk with people. Another big differentiator is because you're traveling, the internet is crappy, so there's a big negative thing there, and I think you can confirm that with me.
Yeah.
And the third thing is that with the startup bus, we actually try to focus a little bit more on creating real businesses, even though that business doesn't really have to succeed in the end or even continue after the entire experience. But we basically try to do more with the startup bus is try to cram the entire experience, which you might have as a startup, in 3 days.
Yeah.
And making it a bit more intense with that. And I told you, I think earlier a bit as well, is like if what you see happening sometimes on a startup weekend is that some of the most amazing, stupid product ideas are created, which are really awesome by itself, but a lot of times a bit of the business side is forgotten there, and that's one of the things we try to focus on a lot as well.
One of the main differentiators that I found when I participated on Startup Bus back in October is basically the structure. You had this kind of like bullet point list of, okay, have you set up your Twitter account, your Facebook account, have you written a blog post, have you built your MVP? So maybe you can speak a bit about that kind of checklist that Startup Bus implement that might help people at the startup weekend to kind of focus and see what they need to do to build a business rather than an idea.
Yeah, actually, you experienced the list we're using. We call the milestone list firsthand in October, but actually the entire milestone list changes and evolves throughout all the different startup bus events we're running, because every time we got new learnings, we got new feedback, new learnings from the entire startup scene, so we're changing it a little bit. But the most important thing is that we sort of, by giving easily sort of milestones to and have teams focus on that, we try to guide them a bit through the process of what it is to start a company. You can think of easy things like that. Okay, what is the company name, and what does a logo mean for this company then? And if you have a company name and a logo, you need to claim a domain name, and you need to set up a Twitter and a Facebook account to get your early traction going, and write a PR post about what you're doing as a company. Try to get all those things done. There's the more of the business side, which things are in there, like the business model canvas. Okay, what is the actual thing which we're trying to achieve, and how are we going to make money? We also, in the recent years, we put a couple of things in there which we saw happening with different startups talking to venture capitalists. Is, okay, what are the kind of questions people are asking? So things like your total addressable market. Is there a sort of an IP which you're having with your product, or you're infringing somebody else's IP maybe? So have a more overview on what's happening on that side. And of course, there's the things in there like, okay, drawing the wireframes of the product you're building, designing it, building it, and all those different steps. And if you look through all these different steps, then you actually see the three profiles which are the most important as well to form any company. And that's, of course, you need everybody always thinks the developer first. because there's at least some sort of product which needs to be built. But if you look at recent years, of course, if that might be a very nice product, but if it's shitty design, then in the end everybody will turn away and nobody will install it on their phone or will start using it. So design is a more and more important aspect on this. And the third profile is, of course, the business profile, and the business profile is not just the traditional, okay, writing a business plan and try to earn in some money from the bank, but the business profile is more the guy who's actually, he needs to have expertise in technology and design and marketing, because he's the guy who needs to figure out, okay, what is the business model from our team. He's mostly the guy who will do the customer validation. He's mostly the guy who will start writing content for the website, who will start writing content for a blog to try to get some thought leadership out there, so people actually start believing, okay, these guys are not just solving a problem, but they're actually knowing what they're talking about. You know, so especially the business guy is a multi-headed person, and that's I think a lot of the schools don't really teach that.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that kind of jumps on to, you kind of mentioned there about the business person doing a lot of the customer validation. So obviously on the Startup Bus, it's primarily kind of did that through a survey, and I remember some of the guys just like making phone calls to get feedback from people. But given that Startup Weekend, people can get out of the building and into the city, into the surrounding areas. What kind of advice would you have for people to getting validation?
Well, I think what you need to try to get done is, because it's such a short time frame, of course, you need to, I think as soon as the teams are formed on Friday evening, no actual work behind getting some first rudimentary customer development should be done by the entire team. And what does that mean is that the entire team should think of, okay, what is the primary problem we're trying to solve here? What is the primary sort of target market that we're trying to address here, and and not even thinking about a solution yet, because you don't know, if you don't know these first two, there's no reason to start thinking about a solution. And what you need to figure out for yourself as well is like, okay, what is the thing that makes or breaks my business? If I start talking to people and they give me this type of answer, is there still a business then, or is it what's my how do you call it? It's the it's your riskiest assumption. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so we're back, and I think the last thing we were talking about, Hans, was about Friday night validation. Going to the pub with your teammates is a good idea, but also see if you can try and get some validation from people there. So can you pick up on that again?
Yeah, so basically is the fact indeed is that a lot of these people always, they have an idea and they start coding straight away, but I think it might be nice to sort of set back a little bit on Friday before start doing any coding or any design, and try to basically sit together with your team and try to formulate what is the problem that you're trying to solve. And then maybe go out there and get to the pub, drink, get a beer, and start talking to people about trying to come to the sort of a root cause of what a problem is, and try to see if there's actually a problem out there what can be solved. With this on Friday evening, instead of just starting to code right away, you get a better direction as a team of where to go and what you need to do, and all the next steps on Saturday morning. So I think that might be a really good sort of first step as a team, and that might create sort of a bit of a more of a competitive edge for you and make you stand out from the other teams a bit better.
Right. So in the previous kind of people I've talked with, we've kind of focused in on the pitch, because I guess that's how you get your idea chosen, and then that's what you're judged on at the end of the day on Sunday evening. So do you have any kind of words of advice on the 60-second pitch, first of all?
Yeah, so the 60-second pitch is on Friday evening, of course, and you need to remember that actually you might go to the Startup Weekend with one or two friends, but in the end, probably 99% of the people who are out there don't really know you. So if you have 60 seconds, I would try to focus maybe the first 30 seconds on who you are, and what makes you so special and an expert on whatever you're doing and what is the profession you're doing. This helps you on the one hand to sort of position yourself to easily form team members around you, because the people know what they can expect of you. On the other hand, it sort of gives you more of a bit of a proof of whatever problem or a product that you're pitching in the last 30 seconds is actually something you already know something about, and that makes the idea to start working on a bit more. Yeah, how do you call it? It makes it easier for teams to pick on it, because if you know something about the subject, it's not just some random idea. People might think this guy knows some what he's talking about. He knows the idea more, so that might give us already a bit of a head start in front of all the other teams.
Right.
So first 30 seconds yourself, try to position what you're doing and what your expertise is, as a sort of an intro to whatever it is you're trying to solve over the weekend.
Cool. So then, obviously, the final day pitch to the judges, who are experienced entrepreneurs, investors. So, is there anything that you should be kind of focusing on then? Obviously, you don't really have to talk about yourself; you have to talk about your team and the product. So, what would you suggest there?
I think one of the differentiators is a bit here again is the validation you did as a team. It's not just look, we created this product, but we went out there and we validated there's an actual need for this. And then throughout the process in the weekend, the business guy can do some research about potential market size and all those kind of things. It's very easy to use the Facebook advertising tool for that, because you can clearly see how many people there are in a country, of course, on a certain subject, all those kind of little hacks. And with this, it creates a better than just a wow effect to the judges, but it says, look, wow, and then we actually know what we're talking about, and there's actually people out there who will love this and who will start using this. And I think if you are presenting, it's always nice to, if everybody of your team is on the stage presenting, it's not really necessary in my point of view. It's always good, of course, because it shows your team spirit, but you can always call them on the stage for the Q&A, so everybody can be there. But everybody who's on the stage presenting should have a talk, should have something to say. If there's just 3 people standing in the back like this throughout the entire pitch session, there's no use for those people to be on board of the stage at that point. So if you are on the stage, try to be an active part of the pitch. Otherwise, just let one guy do the pitch and get the rest of the team members over at the end of the pitch ready for Q&A, so everybody can chip in there.
Perfect, that's awesome. So I just want to thank you again, Hans. I actually invited Hans to be a mentor, but Aer Lingus in their wisdom decided to cancel flights for the winter between Brussels and Cork. But for our spring event, Hans, I'd like to extend the invite again to you.
Yeah. Let's hope we got some flights back again then, so I can join you guys.
Exactly, that'd be awesome. So to find out more about the Startup Weekend, go to cork.up.co, and to join the Startup Bus next year, go to startupbus.com, and you can find out more details there. So thanks, Hans.
Yeah, but just one last thing I think which I want to give to you guys. The most important thing is, of course, you want to have some fun, and you might want to meet potential co-founders, but the biggest thing here for everybody is try to see it as one big learning event. Don't be disappointed on Friday evening if your idea doesn't get picked. It's not about the idea. It's about meeting interesting people, learning a lot from each other, and at the end of the weekend, these events can typically be more interesting than half a year or an entire year of college or university, because you meet so many interesting people here and try to absorb as much as possible. So have fun there. And hopefully then with the spring event I might be able to join you guys.
Cool, excellent. Take care, Hans.
Take care, bye.